Hello, Tech Pros, episode 131.
If you have something that you want to try, you want to do, you need to stop thinking about it. You know, you can do some planning and you can do some preparing, but you need to just put it out there.
Welcome to the podcast where I chat with professionals who are getting the job done using technology 7 days a week. Each week, we start with Motivation Monday. Tuesday is about productivity, Wednesday, leadership, Thursday, technology, Friday, people and communication, Saturday, entrepreneurship, and Sunday, being unplugged. All right, let's get started. Hello, Tech Pros. This is Chad Bostic, and I'm excited to introduce our featured guest today, Therman Trotman. Happy Friday, Therman.
Hey, happy Friday to you too. I appreciate that. Thank you.
You bet. Are you ready to, get ready for the weekend and hang out with the family?
Yeah. Actually, I am. That's what Saturdays are for. Saturday's family day. We just front loaded with a whole bunch of family stuff. So yeah, I'm ready.
Awesome. Let's do it. Well, Therman Trotman is a husband and father of three. He's been in the IT field for 16 years. He's an Army veteran, a New York City native, and a SharePoint developer. Therman feels the number one key to growing your career is building relationships. Well, first of all, Therman, I want to thank you for your service in our armed forces. I really appreciate the sacrifice that you and your family have given to our country to keep us all safe.
Oh yeah, no doubt. I'm glad to do it.
Awesome. And I feel your pain being a SharePoint developer because back in the day, I was actually one of the team members that helped bring in SharePoint 2007 to our organization back in the energy business, and then did all the big migrations from 2007 to the 2010 platform over the course of, I don't know how many years that thing took, but
Wow.
It's fun stuff.
If by fun you mean crazy or something else, then yes, I agree.
All of those together.
Yeah. So you no longer do that anymore, huh? You don't touch SharePoint anymore.
Hallelujah. No, I don't touch it anymore.
Nice.
No, actually, I don't. So it was funny. So while I was working on those platforms, I was trying to hustle. I was going out and getting SharePoint certifications. So I got a couple of the developer certifications. I think it was right when the 2010 platform came out. And then as I started doing that, and I was starting to really work on my career and trying to be not just the person who did the technical stuff, but also the person, being responsible in meetings to speak up on behalf of the team and kind of be that team lead and stuff. And exactly what you're saying here in your bio, I started understanding slowly that it's not what you know, it's who you know, and it's the relationships that you build at work. And that started changing my career. And right at the same time, I was like a team lead on the SharePoint side. I started moving less and less from the hands-on, code and administrate. Well, not that I did much administration of the sites, but hands-on code of the sites to team lead and then into IT management. And really, once I made the decision to just go full force in IT management, then I pretty much gave up all code. And so probably SharePoint 2010, .NET 3.5 were really the last things that I used in my professional career. I still tinker around with Objective-C, a little mobile development at home, but not doing anything professionally with it. But yeah, I've been kind of hands-off for the last several years.
Gotcha. It's funny you say that because that's exactly what happened to me. I used to, like I said, I've been in IT for 16 years, but the beginning part of that 16 years, I did build relationships because, me naturally, I'm a cool person. I like people, but I didn't realize that, how important that was in my career. I just, naturally was just, I went to a bunch of different offices because back in the early part of my career, I had to fix computers. I was rolling around on the floor, getting dusty, all that stuff. So, I had to go around to everybody's office and fix stuff, and I knew everybody. So that was not a thing. But when I started with SharePoint, it's when I finally got to, somebody would come and request something, I'd have to build it, and then I'd have to introduce it to people. So at that time, I didn't know how important relationships were. So I was that guy who would put together something, and in my head, I think, oh, this is the greatest thing ever. You know what I mean? I can't wait to put this out there. And then people weren't using it, and I didn't know anything about UX, user experience. So I was just building it with the technical mind, and I wasn't designing it. I wasn't doing none of that. I was just building it, putting it out there, and thinking, you're crazy if you don't use this. And I was 100% wrong. And I'm glad I figured that out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude, that's so familiar to me because, to me, building software or putting SharePoint sites together or whatever, just doing anything technical, it's a puzzle. And once I solve that puzzle in my own head, then it just becomes so crystal clear. Like you said, it's like, oh man, everybody's going to love this. Like it compiles, it works. There's no errors. There's no bugs. It's awesome. Everybody's going to be shaking my hand and patting me on the back and thinking I did such a wonderful job. And I say, here, world, look at all this stuff. And they go, what is that? No, that's not what I want. I want something else.
Yeah, exactly. I know the life, man. I know the life.
So tell us about this experience. So I love getting down into the details, especially in the big aha moments and the change moments where a person kind of goes through a transition, right? Because I've had a lot of transition periods in my career. And actually, Trotman, I was very unlike you in the early parts of my career because I was not fun to hang around. I was extremely shy, extremely introverted, like terrified to talk to new people. And so it took me a long time throughout my career to build up my confidence, both in my personal life and my professional life, just to have like chit chat with people, right? Forget the technology, but just to say, hey man, how's it going? Where are you at? What's the weather like in your city? Or do you have a family or, girlfriend, boyfriend or whatever? And that kind of stuff was really, really difficult for me. But how was it for you since you were already pretty chill and easygoing and could talk to people in general? What was the process like for you to, once you realize that, people don't want to use my software and you had to start convincing them?
Okay, I got two things. I want to come back to you being an introvert and, not having chit chat and all that stuff. But let me answer your question first.
Yes, sir.
There was a time when, we'd had SharePoint already. We were rolling, it was up and it was running, whatever. And there was a guy at my company who was in charge of, all of the IT stuff. And he was given by the big boss to come up with one. What did they call it? It was like I don't remember. It was like he had to come up with one solution to where one IT solution that would help move the organization forward. Something that would apply to a lot of people. Something that shouldn't take long to create, and it should benefit everybody. And it had to be based. I think he was forcing them to use SharePoint. I don't remember. You know what? He wasn't forcing them to use SharePoint. Just something IT related. Okay. And so he put together a big group, and he invited all, because our organization is spread out across America. So he invited a bunch of people from around the organizations, the suborgs, into our building because we work at the headquarters, and we were having a meeting. And the guy who I'm talking about is at the front of the room, and he says, listen, this is what we're here to do. We want to put together this one big IT project, but it still has to be small and it has to benefit everybody. Listen out the requirements. And there was a guy there who I'd never met before who started speaking up, but he was speaking up in a way that was, kind of uncomfortable. We're like, why are you interrupting the guy who's leading the group? Mm-hmm. And, he was very aggressive in the way he was speaking up. But I wasn't paying attention to him because I'm like, okay, this guy's not really trying to make a point. He's just being annoying. But then the big boss comes in, the higher boss to like set off the meeting. And he goes, listen, make sure you guys, come up with something good. We're looking to have something cool here, whatever. And the annoying guy again speaks up. And I'm like, yo, I can't believe this guy's doing this. You know what I'm saying? So as he's speaking, I then start to pay attention to what he's saying. And he's saying, he keeps going, listen, it does not matter what we come up with because we've come up with a whole bunch of stuff all the time. It's not the people. It's not the technology. It's the culture. He kept saying that. And I was like, what's this guy talking about? So after the meeting was over and everybody had cleared out, I pulled him to the side and I said, why do you keep saying that? Why do you keep saying it's not the technology, it's the culture? And he's the person who broke it down to me and said, listen, look how many things we've built here and how they happen. You know what I'm saying? Changes have to come from the top, and we have to have a culture here that encourages people to even use anything. He said, it doesn't matter if your technology is crap. Good people will always beat out bad technology. And I was like, blown away, obviously, you know what I'm saying? And that sat with me because we met with these people like 2 or 3 days in a row. That kept coming up in my head, and it kept telling me like, yo, you know what? You've been thinking wrong. You've been thinking it's the technology, it's the technology, it's technology. Tools, tools, tools. Apps, apps, apps. It's not tools, it's not apps, it's not technology, it's the people. Because when he said that, it reminded me of when I was on smaller teams in the past, and we had crap for software. But because we worked together, we made that software work the best we could for us, and we got things done. You know what I'm saying? So ever since then, that's when I changed I changed course, and I said, yo, no more leaning on the technology. Instead, I'm gonna go harder at what I was already doing, which is, you know, building relationships. I'm gonna just keep doing that more, and let the technology play second to me. You know what I mean? And since then, it's been I've connected with my graphic designer. I try not to put nothing out on SharePoint unless I get with my graphic designer and he helps me design it after I've got it functional. I try I give out I do trainings, and my trainings are not boring, you know what I'm saying? And I fill the room, you know what I mean? I fill the room because I've built relationships with people to get there. People are not necessarily coming there because they want to learn. They're coming there because they know, you know, I'm gonna have a good time, you know what I mean? And I'm not gonna, you know, be stale. And then on top of that, I'm giving out really good information, you know what I'm saying, to help the organization. Because I really do care about people doing their job better. Like, that's my mission. I want to go to work, and when I'm there and I see, you know, people around me having problems and all that, I can't wait till I finally deliver something that's gonna help them do their job better. I love that feeling, you know what I'm saying, of helping people out. So that was my turning point. Ever since then, it's been like I've been on a mission. I looked up what's his name? I forgot who wrote the book. The popular UX book. Steve Krug or whatever his name is. I don't remember. Don't
I
make
don't
me
know.
think. Don't make me think. You ever heard of that book?
No, I haven't.
Really?
No, I'm Googling it right now. Don't make me think.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, it's called Don't Make Me Think. And that was a book that changed my mind about how you should not have people making decisions when they come and use your software. It should be very, very basic, very, very easy. You know what I mean? And
Okay, yeah. Okay, Don't Make Me Think, A Common Sense Approach to Web Usability by Steve Krug. Yeah, I haven't read this. I have, other people have suggested it. So now you're the, I don't know, more than second person that suggested it. So I'm definitely going to have to order it here on Amazon and check it out.
Nice, nice. Yeah, that book changed my mind. There's a there's a podcast called Manager Tools that I listen to that just crazily changed the way I approach business. You know what I mean? Who else? I don't know, just all over the place. And other internet marketers, you know what I'm saying? The way they run their thing. I try to like go to work and run my situation like an internet marketer. I relationships are way more important than the technology. And the people that are using the technology are way more important than the technology itself, is what I've learned. You know what I mean?
So let's go back to this boardroom meeting, right, where you have the project sponsor who's up saying, "Rah rah rah, troops, we've got to put this thing together. I want you to be creative and think of something absolutely amazing, and it's got to blow everybody's mind, and it's got to be very blingy. It's got to be engaging. It's got to be something that solves a business problem, but also something that everybody wants to use, and it's got to use the latest technology. And you're smart people, you can come up with it." And this individual over here in the corner was like, "That doesn't matter. None of this crap matters," right? Yeah. And it sounds like from your perspective, you're like, "Wow, this guy's kind of rude. He's very he's interrupting. He's telling us, the whole team, like, this doesn't matter. We need to focus on culture." But the boss, and now that the big boss comes in, is saying the same thing. "Rah rah, troops. We need to build something amazing. It's got to solve business problems. It's got to be." How generic. It's got to be something that solves a problem for everybody in the company. Okay, wow, that sounds like an amazing requirement. Right. How about it automatically deposits $20 into my paycheck along with everybody else's paycheck? That would be something that everybody could get fired up about. But other than that, so when you heard this person that was interrupting, and there was at first kind of some like hesitance in your brain going like, "Dude, I don't know what's this guy's talking about? Like, he's kind of interrupting, he's being a little bit rude, but then throughout the presentation, you're like, maybe he's got something. Maybe I need to figure this out. What was the response from everyone else? Like, what were the bosses and what were the other attendees doing in response to this individual that was kind of heckling the
Oh,
crowd?
that's a good question. Because I actually remember that too. Um, so the people that were presenting, the team lead and then the big boss, they were given the thing you do as a speaker is like you give the awkward response or the no substance response. They responded to him, and it wasn't filled with substance, and there was kind of some hesitant moments, like, okay, I hear you, man, but I'm trying to speak here. And then
Mm-hmm.
the rest of the people in the room, I remember noticing this over the time too, is that I work with a lot of older people, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And these people look like they knew that. They knew what he was talking about because a lot of times in different meetings, I get the vibe that these people are just defeated. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe at one point in their career, they were like, "Oh yeah, let's do this. We're gonna get in here and change the world." And then they get around other people and organizations where it's like, we don't really care about that. We just want to, clock punch in hours on a check. And it was more of the same where people just feel like, yo, whatever, you know what I'm saying? If we go left or we go right, I don't care. I just want to get paid. You know what I'm saying? That
Mm-hmm.
was the look in the room. It's like they already knew what he was talking about. And they're just like, yeah, well, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Because he was being, in my mind, not just negative to the speakers, but negative overall because he made me feel like, oh, wait a minute, we just wasted money on plane tickets. We just wasted time in this meeting. We're about to waste more time over the next 3 days because no matter what we come up with, it's gonna be crap. Like that's how he made me
Mm.
feel. And I was like, damn, yo, you know what I mean? Like what kind of vibe is that? Like why would you set the meeting off the initial day like that? But 100% he was right because exactly what he said happened. Like literally what he said happened. And it's because of what he said. Culture at the company is not culture at the organization overall is not where it needs to be to implement something like this. If they want to do this, it has to come widespread from the top down. Culture has to change all type of stuff before you keep introducing projects. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, change management. Just if I was trying to get you to change one little habit or implement one little piece of technology, right? I would have to get to really, really what is Thurman about and what is his needs, and what are his pain points and what are the things he's complaining about, and then only then can I say, okay, well, maybe here's two or three potential solutions to some of those problems. But if I don't know you as an individual and if I don't respect the things that you think about and the things that you care about and the priorities that you have, then me just trying to sell you on some idea that you need to use this new technology is going to be like, you're like, yeah, thanks, Chad, but that's a waste of my time. What I really got a problem with is XYZ over here, but you're not listening to me. You're just trying to sell me something, right? And I feel
Yeah.
that in big organizations, especially in IT, we face this all the time where there's some directive from up above, this command and control directive that says we're going to implement this thing because we've done the financial analysis and over the long term it will pay off. Like we're going to implement this ERP system, or we're going to migrate to this other system, or we're going to whatever. We're going to make you do your timesheets in this manner and fill out all this other extra paperwork. And there's no so many times there's no buy-in from the employees because they didn't ask for it. Like that's not their number one priority. Their number one priority is just trying to survive the day, and get their work done. And all the processes, all the new technologies sometimes that we put on the employees in the organization is just one more headache that they have to face. And so they're not going to buy into it, so they're not going to use it. So therefore, like you said, do the entire project, which is a complete waste of time.
See what you're saying. I found that out. I think it might have been on Manager Tools where they said something like, "Listen, there's three types of power." I think he said three types of power or three types of relationships inside of an organization. He says there's the power of being the big boss. You know what I'm saying? Where you tell people what to do, and they just may or may not do it. You know what I'm saying? Then he says
Mm-hmm.
there's the technical power. There's the guys who know their stuff. You know what I mean? Like they know. Let's talk about IT. They know how to develop. They can develop with their eyes closed in their sleep. Obviously, their eyes are closed. You know what I'm saying? But they can develop. They can develop from here to wherever. You know what I'm saying? They are the best developer going. You know what I mean? There's that kind
Right.
of power, and then there's the relationship power where you know this guy who you do water cooler talk with all the time, or you got a guy who you always love to talk about sports, whatever. He said those three types of power, the strongest one is the relationship power, where like you know that guy that you always do some water cooler talk with. Because if the big boss says everybody's gonna start doing this way and that's just the way it is, that still doesn't work. You know what I'm saying? Like people will do it, even if they do it, they're doing it reluctantly. And then he says there's the guy with the technical power, because this guy might not have any relationship skills, but people only listen to him and move because he knows what he's talking about. So it's the guy in the meeting who knows all about the finances and how the math works out like this. And he keeps telling you without thinking any other way that, listen, this is the way we should go because the math adds up. So that's his technical power. But then there's the cool guy, you know what I mean, who you talk to him all the time. You know about his family. You know about, what sports he's into. You know about what shows he likes, all this type of stuff. He has your ear, or she has your ear, you know what I mean? And she could come to you and say, yo, listen, we got this thing going off the ground, and I just need a few people to test it. You want to check it out or help me out? That is way more powerful than the boss saying, listen, I need 10 volunteers right now to join the team and start testing this thing out. You know what I mean? That also blew my mind, because I was like, I have the technical power, you know what I mean? But I'm not that good of a developer. I know HTML really well, and I know CSS really well, but I'm still learning JavaScript, and I don't develop on the back end. So my power is HTML, CSS, you know what I mean? And that's the technical power I have. Plus, I learn quickly with technology. And I tell you, I work with a lot of older folks, so they look to me for that technical knowledge. But that knowledge combined with my relationship knowledge is why I can make things move at my organization now. It's not I'm not a boss, and I don't manage people, you know what I'm saying? But I get people to do things, test things, come to meetings, speak up, participate, all types of stuff, because of I just naturally built a relationship with them.
Therman, I think this conversation is so good that is equally applicable to, we could have brought you on to have this exact same conversation on one of my Leadership Wednesday shows, right? Because what you're talking about is a form of leadership. You're not like the boss who has HR responsibility over people. You don't have employees that you have to do like end-of-year evaluations to determine whether they're hired or fired or get a raise or not get a raise. But you have a leadership capability inside of you that you get things done by inspiring other folks to follow your direction, right? And that is leadership. That is, just getting other people to follow a direction, to get on board with a vision and a mission and goals, and to align multiple people from different backgrounds on that same common vision and goals. That's leadership, dude, regardless of if you are a boss or if you're not. So this is good stuff. Good stuff. Thanks. So Therman, in just a moment, I want to ask you, like, specifically, how can we get to this level, right? So specifically, like, going back to my story back in the day when I was such a shy, introverted kid.
Yes.
In IT, there's a lot of people who, they just have different backgrounds, and some people speak out, some people are reserved, some people are, friendly and outgoing to everyone. Other people are just kind of do their own thing. So I want to ask you like some maybe tips and tricks on what our audience can do to really up their relationship levels in the office, but do so, in a professional, respectful way to everyone there. But first, we're going to take a quick break and thank our sponsors. This episode of Hello Tech Pros is sponsored by Minio Cloud Storage. Minio is a cloud object storage server for developers and DevOps written in Go. The Go programming language is the emerging language of choice for modern cloud infrastructure projects, and it allows Minio to be highly concurrent and lightweight. Minio is Amazon S3 compatible, built with microstorage architecture in mind, but at its heart, Minio is simple, scalable, and supported by a passionate developer and user community. In episode 89 of Hello Tech Pros, I talked with A.B. Periasamy, one of the founders of Minio, about the importance of community support and recruiting software developers who are as passionate about their product's code as artists are of their art. Check out that episode at hellotechpros.com/89 and check out Minio Cloud Storage at minio.io. That's minio.io. Okay, we're back with Therman Trotman. He is a SharePoint developer and enterprise relationship person extraordinaire. He's getting so many things done, even though he's not a boss. He doesn't have employees, but he's just inspiring other people to get on board with the projects he's working on and test things out and come to his training session. Oh my gosh, how many training sessions have you gone to where you're like, you and two other people in the room and you're both like checking your watch trying to figure out like how long is this thing going to last so you can bail, and Therman's like booking the house and getting everybody to come just because he's an engaging speaker, like he's an interesting person, like he's a real live person and not just covering the material. So Therman, if our audience is like, yeah, you know what, that sounds great, but it's just because Therman's a cool guy and I'm not a cool guy, or I'm not a cool girl, or I'm, I don't have that like outgoing personality. What are some tips and tricks that you would recommend that maybe our audience can implement to up their relationship level at work?
Okay, so now we might get a little wacky here because this is as much as I know about IT and all that other stuff, I feel like I should have a PhD in people. You know what I'm saying? I know people. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love people. I love people. I don't study people on purpose, like intentionally, but I think I just automatically, subconsciously study people because I love people and I'm way into people. You know what I'm saying? Now, here's the thing. If you're an introvert or you are afraid of speaking to people, my first piece of advice, the first step in like I don't know, if we say we're going to take you through a transformation right now, without using terrible language, you know what I'm saying? You have to stop caring. You know what I mean? I want to say it a different way, but I don't want to be out of control. Mm-hmm. If you have to stop caring about what other people think about you. That is your very, very number one above all step. I'm talking about professionally. I'm talking about personally. I'm talking about anything. You have to stop caring about what people think about you. You know what I mean? Detach yourself from the way somebody thinks about you, because the way they feel about you has nothing to do with you. You know what I'm saying? It has everything to do with them. The only piece of that you have is just showing up and being yourself. You know what I'm saying? So their interpretation of who you are is 100% them. If you come through and you're like the coolest guy in the room or gal, you know what I mean? And you really do have a genuine love for everybody, and the way things come off of you, that just naturally flows off of you. But there's like a guy in the corner who's like, oh my God, this dude is so annoying. He's so stupid. That shouldn't matter to you. You know what I'm saying? It should be like, and that shouldn't throw you off. You know what I'm saying? I know there's a lot of people out there who are like super positive, so it throws them off when somebody's negative towards them. You shouldn't let that throw you off. You should be like, I am 100% allowed to let that person have their opinion. You have to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to detach yourself from the way people think about you. That is your very first step. I'm talking about like, if you have a problem talking to girls, you before you go up to that girl and talk to her, you're probably gonna be like, oh God, I don't know what she's gonna think about, what I'm wearing here, or what if I stutter over myself, or all other stuff. That's all in your head because you're thinking about what that other person thinks about you. So you have to scratch that. You know what I mean? And if we're talking about work, if you're getting ready to you're going to work and there's people around you and you're like, oh no, I don't want to talk because what if I say something stupid? You have to scratch that. You have to talk and then say, if people think what I said is stupid, I'm okay with that. You know what I'm saying? As long as you're putting yourself out there, because the number 2 step is you have to embrace who you are. You know what I mean? And it doesn't matter if you are into, I don't care if you're into, what is it? Like if you're into remotes, you know what I'm saying? Like you have something about TV remotes. Probably the most stupidest thing ever. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh man, I love like a long remote with this kind of buttons and you know what I'm saying, how many things it can control. Something stupid, you know what I mean?
Sure.
If that's what you're into, then you should be into that and you should be comfortable talking about that, and you shouldn't, don't overextend yourself trying to tell somebody all about remotes and all that, but you should still you know what I mean, just be comfortable with who you are. You have to, number 1, stop caring about what other people think about you. Number 2, be comfortable with who you are. And then number 3, look on the bright side of things. Like, don't be one of those people that turn your head completely to negative things, but you should choose to intentionally choose to see the good. Like, every day, if somebody comes up to me and they say, "Hey, Thurman, how's it going?" My answer is usually, "Hey, I'm good. I have nothing to complain about." And then I always like catch myself and say nothing significant to complain about, because it's all about perspective. If you ask me right now, what can you complain about? I could go on down the line. I have 100 things I can complain about, but they're not significant. You know what I'm saying? They're not significant at all. Like, I'm stupid blessed. I got my kids, my wife, my friends, my career, which I love. You know what I'm saying? And I came from the dirt. You know what I'm saying? Like, I grew up in the
Right.
South Bronx in terrible conditions. You know what I'm saying? But it's my choice to choose how I see things, and you know what I mean. How if something is negative, I accept it that it's negative. But then I say, well, how can I turn this into a positive? How can I do something to nourish my soul and help the people around me? You know what I'm saying? Those are your three. I have a billion, but those are your three steps right there. Is don't care about what other people think about you. You know what I mean? Get out of your own head. Number two, be yourself. And number three, look for the positives. You know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes you're gonna get weighed down with some negative, but yo, just try to find the positive, or put a combination of those three in play, and your personal and your professional life, I guarantee you, will level up.
Therman, yeah, you're the kind of guy that I really, really wish was my best friend in seventh grade. If we could build a time machine right now and go back, and I could just like have you as my buddy on my side to be like, give me this exact information back when I was, 13, 14, whatever, back in seventh grade, 12. I don't know how long. That was a long time ago. But if
Yeah.
I could have learned these life lessons back then, forget about IT, right? But just life in general, these three things: detach yourself from how others feel, like allow them to have their own opinions, and don't take that away from them, but don't take away your own personality and your own interests away from yourself either, of trying to be somebody that you're not, trying to act a way that you're not in front of other people, right? Regardless of if they're strangers, or if they're your best friends, or if they're your teachers, or your significant others, or your family, or your colleagues at work, or whatever it is. Just like be yourself, and you will attract other people who like respect that and
Yeah.
value that, right? And you will naturally push away the people that don't respect that and don't like that, and that's cool. That's awesome,
That's
because you don't want those
100%.
people in your life.
Yep. Damn right.
Right. And
100%.
then the main thing is just look on the bright side, be yourself, look on the bright side, intentionally choose the good things, and everything else will just kind of fall into place.
Yeah, I think you have to have a general way of thinking as opposed to a specific way of thinking. Because if you keep your general convictions, then that way everything that gets filtered into your life, you get to run it through those general, convictions that you have. So it's like, oh, this just happened to me. All right, well, how am I going to interpret that so that, you know what I mean, I could stay who I am. I don't let this group of people's opinions affect me. And how do I turn this into a positive? You know what I mean? All that type of stuff. It's just have your general convictions so that you know how to operate in multiple areas of your life. You know what I'm saying?
Man, that's such good stuff. I mean, it's so easy to say, but it's really, really hard to do. It's going to take a lot of practice. I know when I was first like trying to open up, maybe it's easy for other people, but for me, when I was, very introverted and very self-conscious about the way people thought about me, it took years and years of, and I be honest with you, I still struggle with it sometimes. There are some moments, there are some scenarios with certain groups of people or whatever, when I feel like I have to put all these filters on myself. Like I have to act a certain way. I have to, because I'm afraid of being judged, or I'm afraid of, straining the relationships that I have with other people. Because sometimes, like I'm in blended groups, right? So I'm with my friends, and I'm with my family, and I'm with my colleagues, like all at the same party, and I don't know how to react, right? Because I want to use a little bit more liberal language, or do some other things that are silly and goofy, but like then my colleagues are there, so it's just like, dude, just forget all that.
Yeah, yeah.
Literally, just forget all that. Detach yourself from all that. It doesn't matter what they think.
If I could like give another piece there, or add on to that, is so at my job, right? There is Okay, so I am, like I said, I'm from the South Bronx. You know what I'm saying? I'm younger. You know what I mean? And the the language and maybe some behavior from back in the day that I'm not proud of, you know what I'm saying, is
Okay.
different than the people that I work with. You know what I'm saying? The people I work with are
Hmm.
older, you know what I mean? The majority, there's not a lot of black people in my job. I'm black, you know what I'm saying? And there's a large, it's a big body of older people, and I get along well with all of them. But I will say that the reason I get along with them is because I do still have to temper myself. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a professional environment, so I don't curse as much when I'm there, and I don't. It takes a lot for me to open up about certain things, and even like my podcast. On my podcast is really like the way I go crazy. You know what I'm saying? I feel very comfortable, like I'm back around my friends, and I speak freely there. You know what I'm saying? And it's very, very comfortable. So at work, I don't tell people about that podcast because I'm like, I don't want them to, think something of me, but it's only because they're professional. If those same exact people I met outside of work, you know what I'm saying? Like, let's say I was sitting in Panera one day or something and I ran across somebody, then they would get the full me. I wouldn't mind um, saying and doing what I normally do. The only reason I wouldn't is because, older people, I feel like, they deserve some kind of respect to where I don't just start flying off of the mouth and start cursing like crazy like how I normally do. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? So
Sure.
I think it's okay to temper yourself in a professional environment. You know what I mean? Whether it's whatever it's based on. If you're like a woman and you typically, if people say that you like to behave like a dude all the time, and you think that if I go to work and behave like like my normal self, like a dude all the time, then people are gonna judge me. If you think that somehow will affect your professional career, then I think that's okay to temper yourself. Or you can't be wearing t-shirts that look crazy and all that other stuff. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
that's okay. In a professional environment, I think you need to temper yourself, but still bring out who you are. Like when I'm there, I'm positive. You know what I'm saying? I'm super positive. I care about helping people. I genuinely listen to people when they talk to me about their projects, like that initial meeting, like all that stuff. That's not an act. It's just that I'm not bringing the rest of me, which is the foul language, you know what I mean, and I do listen to majority of music I listen to is rap, you know what I'm saying, and my rap is probably stuff that the people I work with do not want to listen to, you know what I'm saying, all that type of stuff, but me personally, who I am and who I am at my core is, I genuinely care about people. I love people. I love helping people. So I do that. And if, I think it's okay to try to temper yourself in a professional environment because, that's important. You know what I'm saying? Like you want to, you have your clean clothes on and, make sure you smell good. I work with some guys that I don't even understand. You know what I'm saying? Like it seems like they don't brush their teeth. You know what I'm saying? They don't put on deodorant. It's
Yeah.
crazy. I don't want to go
Yeah.
down that road. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But it's I'm very surprised at how they are able to move in a professional environment that way. But yeah, to me that's the one area you gotta think about a little bit more as a professional environment. You don't want to go crazy, but you still got to think about tempering yourself in a professional area.
Cool. So there are social norms, right? And we have to kind of not betray ourselves, not betray exactly who we are, and as long as the values of the organization match our values, I think it's okay to like, okay, well, when I'm around my grandmother, right, I'm not going to use foul language, and
Right.
when I'm doing this podcast, I try. I use a lot more foul language in real life, like real life Chad, than I do on this podcast because I know there's a lot of people that listen to these types of things like on their commute into work, and they might be in a minivan dropping the kids off at school or whatever, and I just want to respect the people in their environments because I don't know where they're at and I don't know where they're listening, and so I'm trying to be a lot more respectful than like if you just hung out with me in my backyard when the kids are in the house, then there's going to be a lot more colorful language here.
Right. See, yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly. So, but I think that I agree with you. It's okay to maybe put a little filters on yourself, but as long as you're not betraying who you are, right? And if who you
Exactly.
are is really, really passionate about something, about your music or about your faith or about your whatever, then I feel like you have to be that. And if that means that organization is not a good fit for you, then it's not a good fit for you. If these quote unquote friends are not good friends because they don't support you in your beliefs or your music, your faith, or your hobbies, or your remote controls, or whatever it is, then they're not your friends. So
Right.
yeah, exactly, dude. Okay. I'm going off on a tangent here with all this stuff. I am going so deep in the weeds. I want to respect your time with your family and your career, and you're getting ready for the weekend. So before we wrap it up, maybe you could share any final words of wisdom that you have for the audience, the best way that we can connect with you, and then we'll say goodbye.
Okay, so words of wisdom is, I'm very big on not thinking too much about something and just go ahead and do it. You know what I mean? If you have something that you want to try, you want to do, you need to stop thinking about it. There's, you could do some planning and you could do some preparing, but you need to just put it out there. It goes into what I was saying before about thinking about what people, or, concerning yourself with what other people think about you. If you think that, I can't do this, or, you know what I mean, like, I don't even know how I'm going to do this properly or whatever, get out of your own head and just put whatever it is that you're trying to put out there. And I'm talking about in your situation, Chad, like how you do, you do your stuff online. We do our stuff online, or even in a professional environment. If there's something that you want to talk to your boss about or whatever, or a coworker, or you want to stop being like an introvert, just go ahead and do it. Give it a shot. You know what I'm saying? I don't like waiting. Even though right now I have like 3 projects on a back burner that could have been put out already, but I'm busy as hell and I'm trying my best here. You know what I'm saying? But where you can find me, I am EMA_Therm on all of social media. I'm on Twitter. I don't like Facebook. I don't be on Facebook that much anymore. But I do like. I love Snapchat. I'm on Snapchat, Instagram, and Twitter. But I love me some freaking Snapchat. You know what I mean? So wherever I'm online, I'm everywhere. And and can't forget EMARadio.com. That's. I know Chad was talking about people, driving in the minivans and being respectful. If that's your vibe, you probably don't want to listen to to my stuff. But I do. But on EMARadio.com, I also do. We do a main show where we talk about hip hop, but it's more than just hip hop. It's like relating hip hop to real life. So that's one thing. But then second, I do a show on our network called The Big Therm Show, where I interview creatives, entrepreneurs, and anybody. And I also give out lessons based on my life. So if you want to listen to that one, that's a little bit more tame. I try not to curse much in that one, but the main show, excuse my ad lib, it's a little out of control. So you may not want to listen to that. So that's it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Therman, thank you so much for joining me on Hello Tech Pros today. I really value, dude, your honesty and your sense of humor, and just your willingness to come on the show and just chat about this stuff, because I feel like there's not enough people talking about it, right? This is not something that's oversaid. This is something that's undersaid, and that we need to have this conversation more often. And I just really appreciate you coming on the show and talking to me about it today.
Yeah, of course, no doubt. Thank you for having me, Chad. I appreciate it. You know what I mean? I'm glad I don't run the EMA Twitter, but every now and then I go and I look and see who's chatting and who's responding to us. And I saw you on there and I was like, oh man, it sounded like a cool interview. And then I landed on your site. Your site, 2 thumbs up, man. I love the way your site is designed. Very clean, very straightforward, very easy to follow. So, yeah, thanks for having me on the show, man. It was cool. This was good. We got to do it again sometime in the future.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And you're welcome back anytime. I have seven episodes, 7 days a week. So there's plenty of content, plenty of stories that we could share.
Nice.
And we'll get to those another day. But for today, Tech Pros, man, whatever you're doing at work, do it with a smile on your face, do it with a good attitude, do it with an open heart, and do it with the intent of creating relationships with the people that you work with. Because you know what? At the end of the day, those projects really don't matter. Like, you might bump the revenue up of your company 5%, and that's amazing. Or you might cut G&A by 32%, and that's incredible too. Or you might do something completely innovative that nobody's ever seen before, and that will be spectacular. But 20 years from now, nobody's going to remember that. But they might remember you as an individual if you become an integral part of their life, if you make them happy at work and excited to get out of bed and come to work so that they can hang out with you and just be part of your energy. So just think about that. Think about that this weekend and take it to work on Monday. You've been listening to Therman Trotman, and I'm Chad Bostic. And until next time, take care. The show notes page for this episode can be found at hellotechpros.com/131. Do you use Slack for team communication? Join the Hello Tech Pros Slack channel at hellotechpros.com/Slack. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave a review, subscribe to this channel, and check back tomorrow. This has been People Friday, but tomorrow my featured guest and I discuss entrepreneurship. On Sunday, being unplugged. Monday, motivation. Tuesday, productivity. Wednesday, leadership. Thursday, technology. And then back again on Friday to talk people and communication. And I'll talk to you tomorrow.